Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me just say thanks to all of you for your service to our country, and we appreciate the opportunity to have this open briefing. I want to focus on just a couple items that I think we sometimes miss in the discussion when we're in a classified session, and part of it is the budget itself. On May 1st of this year, in front of the SASC hearing on the Space Force posture, it was reported that we've got basically a decrease in the Space Force budget for 25 from 24. The request in the FY25 is $29.4 billion, which is a decrease of $600 million from FY24. $18.7 billion for research, development, and testing. The FY24 request was $19.2 billion. The enacted was $18.6. That's almost $600 million less. We're talking an additional $600 million, $650 million less with regard to procurement. And we're talking $122 million less with regard to operations and maintenance. And we're looking at about $9 million less, almost $10 million less with regard to military personnel. Look, that does not bode well for the fact that out of the 5 domains we've got, air, land, sea, space, and cyberspace, to walk in and suggest that while China and Russia are both expanding their operations in space, it would appear from the budget numbers themselves that we're suggesting a decrease in our operational capacity. Mr. Hill, your thoughts?
Senator Rounds, that hits the nail on the head of a problem we face this year. We've all mentioned it. I mentioned it. I think Chairman or the Ranking Member mentioned the constraints of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. 1, that was one of the factors we had to deal with this year. 2 is something that General Gutlein spoke to, the different nature of the Space Force budget. So when you get through putting together all the must-pay bills, and the Department of Defense has must-pay bills of salary and support to families and operations and so forth of the forces, and you get down to what's left of discretionary, you come down to areas like readiness, research, development, test, and evaluation.
We're cutting it, aren't we?
And procurement. And so where are you going to make those cuts? The cuts focused more, maintain the readiness, sacrifice some of the future. And those investment accounts are very, the Space Force has a high concentration of them.
Let me go on. General Gutlein, I think you wear the uniform, and it's always your professional opinion that we're looking for, and that is how much do you need in order to do your job? And right now, I'm looking at this saying we're reducing what you have and expecting you to get the job done. The bottom line is we're expecting more out of Space Force in the next couple of years than we've ever expected in the past as we remove some of our air-based capabilities, ISR specifically. What is the number that is appropriate as opposed to what we're seeing in the proposed budget?
Senator, I can't give you a number. I can tell you that the threat is increasing daily. They are intent on not only denying our ability to use space, they are actually proving extremely capable at denying our ability to use space. And they are trying to narrow that gap of capability down to 0 or even negative. And we've got to increase that gap.
General, if we were in a classified session and we asked you which programs, which products, which plans you proposed were denied in this budget, would you be able to give us a straight answer at that time?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Look, let me go on just a little bit. Right now, we've got guys in the Gulf sitting on destroyers and other equipment that we've got that are in harm's way. Part of what we expect is to be able to provide them with accurate information, intel, ISR, to be able to identify the guys that are shooting at them, the Houthis. Today, in the Gulf, we have reduced numbers of those types of assets available, and yet we've got guys still sitting there. Now, they're knocking off the actual weapons that are being shot at them, but I think it's about time that we start using the assets that we've got to find the guys that are making the decisions on when to shoot them and take them out before they're attacking our people. The ISR that we've got right now is air-based and space-based. Are we in a position to provide the type of ISR necessary today in space to actually provide these folks with real-time information about who the bad guys are and where they're at and how we get at them?
Yes, Senator, we can provide that information from space, and we do it every single day.
Thank
But
you.
as this threat continues to mature, we're going to need additional ISR capabilities both in air as well as in space.
Thank you. I think that's a very straightforward answer. We need both, don't we?
Correct.
In air-based and space-based.
Yes, sir.
And right now, we're short on both.
And the closer in, though, we get to the actual threat itself, we need to start going more towards space to become resilient and to get around the anti-access area denial capabilities of our adversaries. But the standoff capability very much needs to be airborne, and into other types of conflict, it also needs to be airborne.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.